the mistake that invented probability. It began as an error, small enough to dismiss, a misjudgment that seemed harmless, even forgettable. But that single mistake changed how humans understand uncertainty forever. For most of history, chance felt mystical. Events either happened or they did not. Fortune favored some, punished others, without explanation. Games, weather, illness, and war all appeared ruled by fate. Nobody believed randomness could be measured. To understand why probability matters today, we must return confusion. Early gamblers noticed patterns that felt inconsistent. Some wins arrived too often. Some losses felt unfairly timed. Luck seemed biased, but nobody knew why. The problem was not chance itself. It was expectation. Players assumed outcomes should balance quickly. After many losses, a win felt overdue. This intuition felt reasonable, almost moral, but it was mathematically wrong. One famous question exposed a flaw. If a game stops early, how should winnings be split? The answer seemed obvious. Then it wasn't. Reasonable people disagreed violently. Mathematicians were asked to settle the dispute, not to study chance, but to fix a disagreement. They approached the problem cautiously. Chance had no rules, or so it seemed. To solve it, they imagined futures that never happened, all possible outcomes, all unseen paths. They counted imaginary results as if they were real. This abstraction felt unnatural, even dangerous. Yet something remarkable occurred. Patterns emerged from uncertainty. Fairness became calculable. Risk gained structure. Luck stopped being mystical. What began as a practical mistake forced thinkers to formalize uncertainty itself. They were not trying to invent probability. They were trying to correct intuition. And in doing so, they opened a door that could never be closed. Because once chance could be measured, every uncertain system became analyzable. Games were only the beginning. The same logic would soon reshape science, finance, medicine, and prediction. All because intuition failed, and mathematics stepped in to explain why. The real story is not about gambling. It is about a flaw in human expectation. A mistake so common that correcting it required inventing an entirely new way to think. The early architects of probability did not trust intuition. They trusted symmetry, balance, and logic. If outcomes were truly random, then fairness had to exist somewhere beneath the chaos. They began by listing possibilities, not what felt likely, but what was equally possible. Every future, no matter how unlikely, received equal weight. This was deeply uncomfortable. Imagining events that never occurred felt dishonest. How could unreal outcomes matter? Yet ignoring them produced contradiction. Only by accounting the unseen did fairness emerge. Slowly, rules formed. Outcomes multiplied. Probabilities became ratios. Chance acquired arithmetic. But intuition resisted. People still believed streaks mattered. A run of losses felt meaningful. A win felt due. The gambler's fallacy took root emotionally, even as mathematics disproved it. This conflict exposed a deeper issue. Humans experience randomness sequentially. Math evaluates it simultaneously. Emotion tracks history. Probability ignores it. As probability spread beyond games, the stakes increased. Insurance relied on it. Life expectancy depended on it. Navigation, astronomy, and engineering adopted it. Uncertainty became manageable. Yet misuse followed quickly. Probabilities were treated as guarantees. Risk was misunderstood as safety. Rare events were ignored. The same mistake returned in new forms. Statistics emerged to correct this. Large numbers stabilized randomness. Averages replaced anecdotes. Trends mattered more than stories. But intuition still fought back. People trusted personal experience over data. They remembered extremes. They ignored base rates. Probability clashed with perception constantly. This tension shaped modern decision-making. Markets mispriced risk. Policies underestimated unlikely outcomes. Crises appeared surprising, yet predictable. The math was correct. The interpretation failed. Probability did not remove uncertainty. It quantified it. It showed how little certainty we truly have. And that realization made many uncomfortable. Because once uncertainty is measured, ignorance becomes visible. and visible ignorance demands responsibility. The mistake that invented probability was never fully corrected. It simply became easier to detect, and that detection would soon reveal just how fragile certainty really is. This is where probability revealed its most unsettling consequence. Knowing risk does not prevent mistakes. It only changes how responsibility is assigned. As probability matured, it entered serious domains. Medicine weighed treatments by survival odds. Courts assessed evidence statistically. Governments planned based on likelihoods, not certainties. Decisions became bets, whether acknowledged or not. This shift created moral tension. If harm was unlikely, was it acceptable? If failure was rare, could it be ignored? Probability blurred accountability. Outcomes were no longer simply right or wrong. Rare events became especially dangerous. They were mathematically insignificant, yet devastating when they occurred. Disasters dismissed as improbable redefined history overnight. This exposed a blind spot. Probability measures frequency, not impact. A 1% chance of collapse still collapses completely when it happens. Numbers soften emotional urgency. Financial systems learn this painfully. Risk models assume stability. Extreme events were discounted. Then markets cascaded unexpectedly. The math worked. Reality punished assumptions. Probability did not fail. Interpretation did. Models described averages, not lived experience. They predicted distributions, not individual suffering. This misunderstanding repeated everywhere. Weather forecasts were blamed for storms. Medical odds were mistaken for guarantees. Security probabilities justified neglect. When failure arrived, trust evaporated. Emotion resisted abstraction. People wanted certainty, not likelihood. They wanted reassurance, not nuance. Probability offered neither. This conflict revealed a deeper truth. Probability does not tell us what will happen. It tells us how exposed we are. It replaces illusion with responsibility. And that responsibility is uncomfortable. It demands preparation without certainty. It demands caution without panic. It demands humility in the face of chance. The mistake that birthed probability was assuming fairness meant balance. The lesson it taught was that uncertainty never balances emotionally. And as probability reshaped decision-making, it forced humanity to confront a final challenge: how to live rationally in a world that refuses guarantees. The climax of probability is not prediction, it is acceptance. Once humans understood chance, they lost the comfort of certainty. Outcomes were no longer promised, they were distributed. Every decision carried exposure. Probability did not make the world safer. It made risk visible, and visibility removed excuses. Ignorance could no longer hide behind fate. This changed how responsibility worked. Planning replaced hope. Preparation replaced belief. Resilience mattered more than confidence. Uncertainty became something to manage, not deny. The deepest lesson was subtle. Probability does not care about fairness. It does not correct injustice. It does not balance outcomes emotionally. It only describes reality honestly. When we misuse it, we suffer surprise. When we respect it, we gain resilience. Not control, but awareness. Modern life depends on this balance. Medicine weighs benefits against risks. Engineering plans for failure. Science reports confidence, not truth. Probability keeps certainty in check. The original mistake was believing outcomes owed us balance. Probability corrected that illusion. It showed that fairness exists only in structure, never in experience. Once this is understood, decisions change. We stop asking what will happen. We start asking what we can afford to risk. That shift defines maturity. Probability did not eliminate uncertainty. It taught us how to live with it responsibly. And in doing so, it quietly reshaped civilization. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective becomes the beginning of a new future.